KWT slaying.
Salama family, salama. How y'all doing today? Hope you're blessed and highly favored. So let me ask you a question right quick. How many of you, give me a one, if you know of anybody that has died recently of heart attacks, organ failure, sudden death, um, I'm like it's all around. I mean, I've never seen anything like this before. Wow. So what we're seeing today is warfare. And so we're already in a civil war. And I'd have to say, if you have a two, maybe you have a two because maybe you've been busy or you just out of pocket. I'm like, I mean, I ain't never seen anything like this. And what we're dealing with, like I said, is a civil war. Now, when I say civil war, it's the idea of the first civil war that we had where we, were fighting along with the North and the South. We was on both sides because we were slaves, and the North say, "Hey, you fight with us, we'll set you free." The South say, "Fight with us because we own you. You're our property." And so we find that we were fighting against our own self-interest a lot of times, whether or not we was on the North side or the South. But there's an interesting thing going on today. The so-called border crisis. And, here's the thing. All of this is scripted. All of it's by design. All of this is a complex war campaign. And guess who the war is against? I know. Maybe you all here know, but half of the black folks in this world and especially in America don't know. It's against the Negro. Oh, but the Civil War is really them right-wing Christians. The whole thing is to cause disturbance and chaos and confusion in America. Why? To get you folks. Why is it always bad stuff when I hear you, Yakoba? Why is it always negative? Because that's the time we're living in. What else I'm going to talk about? So you have people who are lying to you, teaching you half truths, telling you there's a gathering, but no second Exodus. When I could give you all the scriptures that tell you there is a second Exodus. You got people who tell you there's a 400-year prophecy, but there's no second Exodus. Make it make sense. There is no 400-year prophecy without the second Exodus. Remember what they did to our ancestors and how they were shrewd and how Pharaoh, was trying to kill the men. They've been doing this a long time. Have you ever noticed, they tell you, well, women live longer than men. Literally, all of my dad's generation and his friends and stuff, most of the guys are gone and most of the women still here. You think that's coincidence? It's not coincidence. Same old move that Pharaoh did, and he's doing it today. Why do you think the last 3 years happened? Because they knew that you Negroes was going to wake up. So they had to have a plan in place. They kept you in slavery. They put you in the prison system and told you you're free. They sent you to the churches and told you, hey, wait till God comes. Jesus is going to save you. And I'm not saying Yeshua is not going to save you. I believe that. Because I believe that without him, we ain't getting out of this. But there's a reason why we leave crying. Jeremiah 50. These people, don't get it twisted, because here's the thing. They're going to call me a conspiracy theorist. They're going to say that Yacoba's scared. How many times you heard that and had the videos? Yacoba's telling people to flee. I'm not telling you to do nothing, because I ain't going nowhere till the Most High come get me. Because guess what? They crazy here and they crazy on the continent. I'm not saying that people aren't called to go, because I do believe people are called to go. I do believe that people who have already left is part of the second Exodus already occurring, or whether or not you want to call it that or call it the time to flee. I believe that. I just don't think it's time for me yet, because guess what? The Most High would have told me. I'd be gone like yesterday. I wouldn't be sitting here because I want out. You know why? Because I see what's happening. How much more I want to leave, and I'm not telling you do anything, so don't get it twisted. How much more you think I want to leave, and I see what they're doing? I see what they've been doing. I see how they've been passing these laws against us. They've been calling it critical race theory. They've been calling it wokeism. They've been calling all these names just to pass laws to do what? Erase the black man. Why do you think they want to get rid of the statues, right? Oh, they're getting rid of the statues because they care about black folks like that. Oh, they're getting rid of the statues because, that's a Confederate statue and black folks don't like that. Get rid of the Confederate flag because black folks feel some kind of way. No. See, that's the okie doke. Don't you see what they're doing? They're erasing our history. Now, if they're erasing our history, well, but what do you mean they're erasing our history? You just said they're getting rid of the statues, Confederate statues and flags. Yeah, that's tied to us. That's tied to slavery. You ain't gonna see no more Confederate flags. You ain't gonna see no Confederate statues. They're not gonna be teaching about race anymore, and they're not gonna be teaching about slavery anymore. Why? Because they're planning on having you gone. What you think is happening on the border right now? That's your replacement. Oh, y'all don't realize that? Well, I'm staying right here. That's good. I'm not leaving either till the Most High tell me go. I'm just telling you what's happening. These people never wanted to free us. These people never cared about our eternal salvation, Christian churches. It was enough to keep us comatose, to keep us asleep, to keep us where we don't know who we are. Blindness in part come to Israel. Why? Because they're doing whatever they want to you, because you don't know they're doing it to you. And you think they're your friends. They tell you we passing laws to help you when they putting you in the ghetto. They're telling you we passing laws for your safety when they putting you in the prisons. I'm just saying, stop it already. See, we was asleep. I was asleep. Oh, yeah, I was a deep sleeper. Maybe not as deep as everybody else. I was a little awake, had my eye a little partially open, but everybody was asleep for the most part. Some of y'all still asleep. Some of y'all ain't gonna never believe anything we say here. You ain't gonna never believe the evidence. But guess what? You ain't got long. Oh, no.
Okay, y'all, let's get into this. Former and current inmates are suing the Alabama prison system, stating they've profited over $450 million off of their labor. So the convict leasing program never ended in America. And where do they have them working? Fast food restaurants. So allegedly, they have predominantly Black inmates working at McDonald's, KFC, Burger King, and Wendy's. And how much are they paying them? According to the lawsuit from current and former inmates, they were being paid $2 a day. And this woman here was incarcerated from 2007 to 2023. She said that she was, forced to do housekeeping, stripping floors, and working at Burger King, where she endured sexual harassment. Guys, this stuff, it's crazy to know that the convict leasing program is still in full swing in 2023. It is modern day slavery. It is what they used to continue to enslave our people and make a profit.
So you thought you were free. You thought, Article 13 set the slaves free. No, it didn't. We already say that. We already knew it, a lot of us. But, some of them raccoons out there are going to tell you otherwise, right? Some of the raccoons going to tell you, hey, guess what? You got an equal standard and an equal chance to make it in America. You have an equal chance to become successful and build your own corporation. You have a equal opportunity to become a billionaire. Look at Oprah. But who does Oprah work for? See, nobody want to tell you the truth, right? That you are a slave, Neil. I told y'all that. Now, the thing that we need to realize is that we already, a lot of us, knew that we were slaves. Not always. Like I say, I was asleep. Had a partial eye open. I could see a little bit. Took me a while to see how they were using the system against me. Why these folks be discriminating against me like that? How come they be lying on me on the job and stuff? How come they be getting us fired? How come, they get rid of us and then bring in some other folks? I'm like, who's less qualified? What's going on here? I just don't get it. Oh, I guess that person must be racist. No, it's the system. They said that we were going to be perpetual slaves, and they believe that, and they're pursuing that. Now, a lot of people got a problem with some of the conservative talking points, but some of the conservatives be correct on some things. They still racist. Don't get it twisted. And then you got people like Candace on, and I'm gonna show something from her. Candace, be hitting on some stuff, even though she married to one of them folks. But she be here. I ain't mad at her because a lot of us are married to them folks. I have no hope in our people other than the fact that the Most High gonna save us. Why? Because we've been brainwashed. I mean, look at the entertainers. That's who most of us follow and get our lifestyle and our culture from today. Black women don't like black men, and black men don't like black women. Somebody tell me that wasn't done on purpose. Come on now. I told you we broken. Oh, I'm really hoping about that April eclipse. They shutting down a lot of schools, if y'all didn't know. They shutting down a lot of schools April 8th for the eclipse. Why is that? They never shut down schools before for the eclipse. I don't know. I can't answer that. Makes me wonder about them 3 days of darkness everybody been talking about. We about to find out. But like I said, see, we are at war. There is a civil war going on. The problem is it's not obvious. The problem is it's not just guns and bullets. The problem is it's technology. The problem is it's science. The problem is it's the, lollipops. This is a different warfare. The problem is it's your food, it's your water, it's your air. The problem is it's your clothes. Anywhere they can hit you, they're hitting you. Oh, I know some of y'all ain't gonna believe it. You ain't gonna never believe it. Why? Because you're deep in the matrix. You're deep in the system. Ain't nobody about to wake you up but the Most High. Period with a T.
To what I actually said on that stage that they never saw.
Right now, the black vote is the most important vote in the country. There's a very small window before our vote's not going to matter. These conferences won't matter, and us sitting here won't matter, because illegal immigration, if you're looking at the numbers, every new birth in this country, 60% of all new births are Hispanic Americans, and the Democrats are about, listen, you're saying, let me get to the point. I'm going to tell you what's wrong with it. I say illegal is the new black because it's true. And there's a reason why they're advocating for open borders. Right now, our vote means a lot, but new births of black Americans have stagnated. The population growth within black America has stagnated. So the things that I pay attention to are the numbers. I pay attention to the birth rates in this country, which is why I'm pro putting something down to stop illegal immigration.
So there it is.
Did she lie? No, she didn't lie. And then T.I. come with, because you talking with some bull. You know what I'm saying? That's what he said. You talking some bull. No, she wasn't. She was telling the truth.
Obviously, T.I. was acting as a gatekeeper, and the black media, and I don't even know who owns the black media, was acting as a gatekeeper to that information. And now black Americans are waking up to how true that is. This is now a problem, not just for black America, but for all of America. But particularly, as I said, it was going to impact black Americans first. So take a listen to what Pastor Brooks was saying regarding migrants in Chicago on the news.
Joining me now is Pastor Corey Brooks, CEO of Project Hood. Pastor Brooks, how utterly demoralizing it must be for these residents. What's going on? Is he a reflection of the way others are feeling?
Well, he seems to be a reflection of what others are feeling. You know, Chicago is a microcosm of what's going on all across the country. We've been made a sanctuary city, and, you know, typically the citizens would have something to say about that. But here in Chicago, we're not able to practice a true democracy by saying if we want to be a sanctuary city or not. And as a consequence, they're being flooded into our neighborhoods, and lots of funds are being invested into individuals who are not American citizens. And for a lot of people, that seems to be a major problem.
And he's not the only one. Some other gatekeepers are now acknowledging what I said 5 years ago, pretending that they care about the black community when they don't actually care. They are just suddenly saying it because it's, like I said on stage, too late. Al Sharpton also acknowledging that there is an invasion at the border and it's impacting black America. Take a listen.
Couldn't there be some kind of public pressure put in the next couple of days in some of these senator states saying, why are you allowing this to continue? Because at the end of the day, senators have to deal with their voters. And at the same time, in the bill, you give money to Gaza, to civilians in Gaza and Israel. But the border, I mean, we're looking every day at the invasion of migrants, and they're playing a time game with politics on this.
Everything that you're seeing, of course, is just acting. Al Sharpton knew the information that I knew then, but he wanted to wait until it was too late so that he can pretend that he, in fact, represents the voice of black America. So take a look at this. Yesterday, rapper Meek Mill tweeted this. I watch Candace Owens all the time, too. And it seems that for the first time, black Americans are beginning to listen to what I am saying. I'm noticing that they're sharing clips that they're saying, oh, she's suddenly starting to make sense. No, I've been saying the same thing since the very beginning, since I appeared onto the scene. You just weren't allowed to hear it. And it's time to ask ourselves why that is. Why is it that black America is prevented from being allowed to actually advance? And I'm talking about music, obviously. I'm talking about the intentional influence of all of these artists who do not represent black culture. No, they represent the corrosion of black culture. They are being artificially, obviously, distributed to convince black minds that this is somehow ours and that we should fight to defend it. And so I'm happy And on the Breakfast Club, probably the most.
So here's the thing. People you like sometimes going to tell the truth, and people you don't like sometimes are going to tell the truth, and sometimes both of them going to lie. That's why you got to do research yourself. You got to find out yourself what's true. See, everybody's coming out now and talking about the migration crisis. Why? Because the migration crisis is making headlines. People are starting to hear the truth. What is the truth, Yakoba? The truth is that there is an invasion. Now, what is the purpose? That's the question. What is the purpose? Because here's the thing. Gentiles are going to be affected as well. We all know that Gentiles will be affected as well by this migration. But question, who's going to be affected the most? Them or us? Come on now. Who's going to be affected the most? Them or us? We already still in, a lot of our people in jail, right? Still being slaves, working for slave labor, right? Behind bars or in chains, right? See, the laws don't apply to us. You know why? Even though they tell you you're a citizen, you're not a citizen. Why? Because you're not protected by the Constitution, which is why when we get deleted, guess what? Most of the time, they don't go to jail. See, if I have a trap and the trap can grab and put everybody in it, but yet them folks have a rope to climb out of the trap. They might fall into it, but they're given a rope to climb out of the trap. We didn't get the rope. So when the trap grabs everybody and everybody falls in, guess what? We stuck like Chuck. But them folks gonna have a rope to climb out. At least that's the plan. It's not the Most High's plan. But you're being replaced. I know you don't believe it, but that's okay.
While I'm on that, five mothers, I want to wish everybody a happy Black History Month. Amen. February is Black History Month. We get the shortest one of the year, but we still get a month. But allow me, and I know I'm out of sequence, to say this. We're talking about celebrating Black History Month. My concern is not only. Did you hear me say only? Did you hear me say only? Now don't act like you didn't hear me say only, because I said only. But my concern is not merely, did you hear me say merely? For Black history. I'm worried about the Black future. See, there are things that's going on in the world today that lets me know that what is in jeopardy is not our history. Our problem is we've learned nothing from our storied and august history. We have come a long way. The story of the Black race in this country is one of triumph and tragedy. Amen. When we were brought here, we weren't welcome. The Statue of Liberty wasn't built for us. We were not welcome. And no one expected us to last. We were brought here for free labor, to be slaves. We weren't even considered as human beings. But God blessed us. And God kept us. And look at where we are today. Look at where we are in society, in the communities we live in. Look at where we are in the field of entertainment and sports, athletics, academia. We're everywhere. I read a sign. I was traveling in a deep part of a state I won't name. I almost said it. And a man passed me and he had a sign on his truck that said, had we known that it would have turned out like this, we would have left the slaves in Africa. And I laughed and laughed because that made the point. They didn't know. But God knew. God knew. You see. And look at us now. We're blessed of the Lord and highly favored. But my concern is the future. See, we're talking about all of this social justice stuff, right? I have a question for the social justice warriors. Does social justice apply to the unborn? I've never seen a social justice warrior at an abortion clinic. I've never seen them show up and say, let the baby live. If social justice doesn't apply to the unborn, social justice doesn't apply at all. Because if people aren't born, then there are no people to make sure that the social justice laws apply to. I look at what is happening in our country today. In the last 3 years, almost 10 million illegal immigrants have entered into the country. I don't blame them. And they're coming from all over the world. China is sending in thousands of single men. The overwhelming majority of immigrants, illegals that are coming in, are males. Most do not come in waving the U.S. flag. They come in with flags from their own country. They're not embracing the melting pot. We're seeing our government now show more kindness to illegals than to American citizens. You can't hardly pull up to a stoplight and park your car in peace and wait for the light to go from green to red to green. It can't change fast enough for you because there's somebody walking by wanting a handout. And these are overwhelmingly U.S. citizens. How is it that we can find money to house people who are here illegally, but there is nothing for those who are legal? So I don't want to talk about black history. And again, I'm not blaming. If I live somewhere else, and if I could get in America, I'd go under the fence, over the fence, whatever. I'm not talking about those who are seeking asylum. But I am speaking of a matter of the law because it concerns me that while this is taking place on our southern and northern border, we talk about the southern and northern, throughout the black community and all in the historical black colleges, HBCUs, there are politicians going to these places talking to us about killing our children. Telling black folk, and they speak to us in code that they feel that we're too dumb to see through. I didn't say we were, they think we are. What is the code? Women's health. That's the code talk. Women's reproductive rights. There is no reproduction in abortion. Abortion.
What does that sound like? Pushing abortion, pushing alphabets. This is tools of modern warfare. Same thing with, like I said, was happening with the food supply and everything. Those who have money can usually go to some place and get food that is of a higher quality. Those who don't have to eat what's in the neighborhood. And what's in the neighborhood? McDonald's, Popeyes, all that stuff. It's called fast food. If the weapon is pointed towards your community, then who are they fighting against? If the immigrants are being brought into the country and put into black neighborhoods, who are they fighting against? If black folks are ending up on the streets because they don't have a job, because guess what? Now you got a cheaper labor force coming in. Not only are they coming in, they're giving $9,000, I believe, a month on cards. They're giving room and board, right? Vouchers for room and board. But guess what? Black folks, and it's not just blacks that's being affected, but as I said, it's majority black. Blacks are the target. The scope is at our heads. The scope isn't at their heads. They're what they call that. Forgot the term for it. But basically, it's right on the tip of my tongue too. Family, tell me what the word is. Where you're caught up in the extraneous warfare, right? The bombs and the bullets and the guns. What they call that? Collateral damage. Thank you, Brother Archie. That's what collateral damage. Their collateral damage, right? We're collateral. They're collateral damage, but we're the targets. We're the ones that the bombs are pointed at or the weapons are pointed at. But guess what? We don't believe it. Why? Because we got raccoons within the midst that tells you, guess what? There's no 400 years. Guess what? There's no second Exodus. Guess what? America loves you. Guess what? You have every opportunity to make it here as everyone else. You can pull yourself up by your bootstraps. No, we don't even have shoes. And the shoes that we do get, you cut the straps so we can't tie them together. We build homes, we build communities, and guess what? Y'all burn it down. But it's our fault. But we understand because it's the only way you know how to be.
By definition, is the interruption of a natural process that leads to a particular outcome. In this case, a human being coming into the world. They have trained you to hear women's health issues as make you think that there's people actually out against women's health when they're actually trying to save unborn babies. And when you consider what is being told to us, and you consider that we're having fewer, smaller and smaller families, and when you consider that they're bringing in people. Just the other day, the bill, I have it right here, the name of the bill, and I'm going to preach this morning, HR 6976. HR 6976 was a bill that would deport illegals if they were convicted of drunk driving. Drunk driving is a problem. You can get killed. The multitude of people who have lost families, loved ones in their lives from a drunk driver, that's a real problem. And then if you compound the problem with that, if the person who was drunk wasn't supposed to be here anyway, that's a double loss. Do you not know that 159 Democrats voted against that measure? Against it.
They can't get rid of your replacement. Don't you understand that? You're being replaced. You're being replaced. Let's say it again, family. You're being replaced. They cannot do that, right? That's why they're putting them in your neighborhoods. They're not going to Chinatown. They're coming to your neighborhoods. They're coming to your cities. And guess what? Some of your leaders look just like you, but they sold you out. They don't realize when it all comes to fruition, it ain't about the votes. I'm assuming some of these black leaders out there think it's about the votes. No, it's not. It's about getting rid of us.
We are being, I have said this to you for years. I'm hearing others say it now. We are being replaced. We're being replaced. And we're behaving, and this is hard to hear, but I want
Now, if the sleeping church is waking up, what's wrong with you Negroes? What's wrong with the rest of y'all? If the sleeping church is waking up and know that we being replaced, how come you still asleep?
you to hear me, hear my heart. We're behaving like the frog that's being slowly boiled. We don't even notice it. Don't even see it. You drive past workplaces where you used to see black folk doing those jobs. You don't see us anymore. So well, they moved up where? You go in the corporate rooms, it's still white. Where did they go?
Good question. Where did they go? They moved up. Move where? Everybody's still white in the corporate sector at the top levels. One or two of us in there. Still the same way in IT. One or two of us. 100 of them.
Where did they go? See, so there is something going on, and the alarm needs to be sound. God knows we have a storied history.
I've been sounding alone forever, but I get called fearmonger.
And many, many, many heroes to talk about and many reasons to be proud. But we are nullifying all of those gains.
Hey, Tail, they're replacing us because we're going home and they need new. I agree with you. I'm not sure if they realize we're going home, but I do think that they're trying to take us out. Because if you look at what they're doing, they're trying to take us out before we go home. That's what it appears to me, right? How all of this gonna play out in the end, I don't know, but I agree with that.
By killing our own. Amen. So I want to talk about black future, the future of our race. We deserve to live. We deserve to exist. We deserve to multiply. Yeah, we do. We're not better than anyone else, but we're not worse. Amen. And the thing.
But see, they don't want us to multiply. They call us baby kids. They say we make too many babies. They say our men like sex too much. That's what they say, right? If you go read those old books about the Israelites, right? The slaves, right? That's what they say. They don't want us. That's why they have abortion clinics, right? Because they don't want us. That's why they put those in our neighborhoods. That's why they put bars in our neighborhood. That's why they put guns in our neighborhoods. That's why they do all these things, right? They put fast food in our neighborhoods because they don't want us around. Figure it out. It ain't that hard. I told you it's not straightforward. See, because you're looking forward and somebody's behind you and they tap you on the back and you look behind you and behind you is like 100 different other people. You don't know which one of them hit you on the back. So what are you going to do? You do nothing. Because you like, well, I can't hit the wrong person. So I do nothing. That's how they do. They know Negroes got morals. They know we don't start nothing, but we finish it. So they don't want to start it. They don't want that Micah 5:8 scenario. So they do everything through deception.
Things that have been done, that are being done, are against us. We've already lost our status as America's largest minority party. That's gone. And it ain't coming back. Because, first of all, they convinced us to have smaller and smaller families. They convinced us from the pulpit and everywhere else, it's all right to kill the fruit of the womb.
But I'm a Christian, they say. I'm a Christian. I only care about y'all. I'm a missionary. I'm only coming to Africa to give you the good news. What good news? Because you sure ain't telling us we the people. You sure ain't telling us that God gonna deliver us from our captivity. You ain't telling us that we're gonna be brought back to the land that we were taken from. You're not telling us that the Most High said he gonna judge all these nations and he gonna tread the winepress of the wrath of God. Why? Before what they did to his people. You're not telling us that.
And it's amazing in the average abortion clinic, and I got to leave this alone, where the woman is sitting there and the ladies in the clinic who are standing around and they're aiding and abetting her as she gets rid of that precious life. A large number of those women are lesbians because there's a direct link between the lesbian community and the abortion community.
What? How can that be? I thought they were lesbians. Huh? What they doing? Hooking up with a brother? I don't know. What's going on here? See, a lot of deception, a lot of different weaponry, right? Abortion, alphabets, right? All of this stuff. Also denying who you are, denying the Most High. Guess what else they tell you? You don't have to obey his laws, statutes, and commandments. Why? Because then you're going to be what? Living in sin. And if you're living in sin, then the Most High can't help you. If you're living in sin, then judgment is right on you and your nation. See, that's how they do. We are Christian. Guess what? The laws are done away with. Why? Because they want you to sing. Because if you don't know what the laws say and what's a righteous standard, you're going to do what you want. You're going to say, well, love covered the multitude of sins. Love fulfills the law. Well, what is love? See, people got their own idea of love. Some people think Billy hanging with Bobby is love, or Susie hanging with Betty is love. I'm just saying that's what some people think. But the law says you are not supposed to do that. It's an abomination. That's what the Bible says. But if you don't have no laws, you don't have no standards. And if you don't have no standards, you in sin. Make it make sense.
And see, since the lesbians are engaged in a relationship that don't produce babies, no way. See, because children don't, saliva doesn't germinate. That's exactly right. Some of you all will figure that out next month. Amen. And she's sitting there on the table surrounded by these witches who is making her feel good about killing her future. Those children, that baby section up there, Lord knows sometimes they get loud.
And let's talk about this. Let's be fair, right? Let's be fair. How many of the churches are talking like this guy here? I got to give him some props. How many churches are talking about abortion? How many talking about hell? How many talking about sin? How many talking about judgment? How many talking about the last days? How many of them still telling half truths? How many of them still giving you sugar cookies? I'm just saying. Most of these churches ain't telling you the truth. Haven't you realized that yet?
It's music to my ears. God bless every one of you. Amen. Amen. Black history. I'm concerned about that as well as our learning, making sure that we have a future. The next argument that you're going to see is after with over 10 million illegals coming in, the next push, now watch me, listen to me, is going to be a pathway to citizenship for them. If that ever happens, let me tell you what happens to the black community. We disappear because we're grossly outnumbered. Our influence is gone. And we sat there and trusted the politicians who did it.
So do you think this is coincidence? This is by design. The critical race theories, right? The removing of our history from the schools, the removing of the Confederate statues, the removing of the Confederate flags, the removement of all of these things. Anything that has to do with us is being removed, right? Just think about it for a second. The whole thing about wokeism and how we're the picture perfect people, right? According to them, for the alphabet community, right? It's always black folks who's the face of alphabets, right? It's all by design. It is the destruction of our nation, and it's by design. This is the new method of warfare. This is the new method of destruction. This is the new method of civil war. We are already in war. We've already been in war, and guess what? We're at the end of the war. We're at the point where they're saying it's us or them. We're at the point where the dragon is chasing the woman. We're at the point where they say, guess what? We can't be around these folks no more. Because guess what? They're asking for reparations now. We ain't giving them no reparations. That's what they say. The Most High says different. Now, how it all works out, I don't know. But the Most High says different. The Most High says different.
That's the next move, the path to citizenship. See, with us, we are playing the short game. The enemy is playing the long game. And you.
But who's the enemy, family? Come on now. The brother said that the enemy is playing the long game. We play the short game, and that's true. That's true. But who's the enemy? See, I want to hear him say it. Who's the enemy? Who's playing the long game? Who's the one that's targeting our people? I'm just asking.
You got to learn to not be myopic and see only what's at the tip of your nose. You got to ask God to anoint you to see what's on the horizon. Show me, Lord. He's shown me, and I've been telling you this for years. And so many times I've been, my brother, dismissed, only for it to come back up to say, you know what? Wouldn't told us that. He said that, you know why? The Lord showed me. When I talked to you all about the feminization of men and the effeminization of our men, that's part of the plan. Anything that will weaken the man, anything that will masculinize the woman. Now she's in his role. He's in her role. The last time I saw that, they ate the fruit. Adam.
So how do you all think we get out of this situation, right? Because obviously we're targets. Obviously this is a systematic psychological operation against our community. Obviously these are things that the powers that be have put in place to enslave us once again. Now think of this for a second. If they're going to remove the Confederate statues and the Confederate flags and remove our history from the schools to hide what they have done to us, to their future generations. Come on, think about this for a second. if they're going to hide these things and remove our history from the history books, there's still something that tells the truth of what happens that has to be removed also. Come on now. Come on now, family. There's still something that has to be removed. If we got rid of the statues and we got rid of the Confederate flags and we got rid of the history books, there's still something that tells us what our ancestors have done here in America. Yes, that's us. Thank you, Yali Yali. That's us. That's us. You can't leave us here. You're getting rid of the statues. You're getting rid of the Confederate flags. You're getting rid of the history books. You got to get rid of the people. So the people are being replaced. We didn't got rid of the statues. We got rid of the Confederate flags. We getting rid of the history books. Now, guess what? We're replacing the people. So what? We're bringing in migrants. We're getting rid of the descendants of slaves because we don't want to hear it no more. We're getting rid of the descendants of slaves so we don't have to pay them reparations. We're going to let them eat some lollipops so they won't be here no more. Now, according to the word, the Most High says he's going to send us back to the land that we were taken from. I know some of you all don't believe that there's a second Exodus, though the Bible says that. Y'all worried about the term Exodus. Come on now, what foolishness. Y'all worried about the word Exodus. Well, guess what? It's an English book. Come on now. Y'all worried about things that you don't need to be worried about because the premise and the context is there that there's a second Exodus. There's a return back to the land that we were taken from. There's a second time that we go home. There's a time that they're going to say, we don't even remember the first Exodus because ain't nothing like this ever happened in the history of the world with this second Exodus. Come on now, I'm paraphrasing. Y'all ought to know the scriptures by now. We in trouble. And if there's no second Exodus, we're done. I told y'all that before. Y'all keep playing if you want. Y'all keep lying if you want. Y'all keep saying there's a gathering and there's no second Exodus. Foolishness. Foolishness. Oh, I believe in the gathering, but I don't believe in the second Exodus. Foolishness. What kind of foolishness is that? I believe in the gathering, but I don't believe in the second Exodus. Foolishness.
But yeah, we have some serious stuff to talk about today. As you correctly said, Civil War II, the migrant crisis, and the coming Civil War. And one of the things that, as I begin to research this and look at this, because a lot of times when we look at the news to get information, we know that we're not getting the real information. We're getting a narrative that has been edited maybe 100 times. But we're not getting the real truth on the ground. Or like you like to say, boots on the ground. We're not getting that. They have effectively taken away. You remember the days where we had real journalism, where people were out in the streets reporting things, as they happen. Well, they've taken away that from the American people. So now we have to rely on people like yourself to bring the truth. And
let me pause right here. Jacobo, please calm down. I had no idea y'all had issues. Oh my goodness. Guess what? If you know who it is, that's your business. Ain't nobody know who I'm talking about but me and those like you. And if you got a problem with it, then keep it to yourself, because ain't nobody know who and what I'm talking about. I'm talking about an idea. I'm talking about faulty teaching. I'm talking about lies. I'm talking about half-truths. It ain't got nothing to do with a person. It don't have nothing to do with a person. I have problems with lies. I have problems with half-truths. So if you got a problem, then that's your problem. If you know who it is, then guess what? Maybe you should correct that person. Because guess what? Ain't nobody else know who I'm talking about but you. So why don't you keep that to yourself?
You know, different platforms that are dealing with this, because I don't want to say we're forced to do this, but again, we're at war, so we have to fight back. We either have to fight back or dig holes to go hide in. Okay, that's basically what it comes down to.
Let me stop right here. Private conversation. I ain't having no private conversation with nobody. You know why? Because lives at stake. Our people lives are at stake, and they want you to just love up on some Babylon. They want you to just prepare to live here another 100 to 200,000 years or whatever. They want you to ignore the things that's happening to our community. They want you to ignore the fact that people dropping like flies. They want you to ignore the fact that our people don't have no jobs. They want you to ignore the fact that our people living on the streets. They want you to ignore the fact that our people can't feed their families. They want you to ignore the fact that these people have it out for us. They want you to ignore the fact that we got a bullet aimed at us, a gun aimed at our head. They want you to ignore the fact and make you think that all things remain the same since the fathers fell asleep. No, I'm not getting in no private conversation with nobody, because guess what? I say what I want to say on my own platform. I say what I want to say here. I don't care what they teach. I care about truth. I care about lies. I care about exposing lies. And if you got a problem with it, maybe you should talk to him, because I don't care. I'm not fighting nobody. See, you the one started the mess.
But yeah, if you would put that first picture up there, brother, of the Civil War, I'll start out with that.
Okay. Let me grab it here. It should be.
Oh,
is
yeah,
this
great.
It, brother?
Yeah, that's it. That's
okay.
it.
Because the way I have them, I downloaded them, but it wasn't in any particular order, or the order was shifted. So just let me know what it looks like, and I'll try my best to go through it. Okay.
Okay, bet. That's great. So first I want to give a definition of what a paradigm shift is. I know many people may know, but I just want to reiterate this. But a paradigm shift is a major change in how people think and get things done that upends and replaces an existing state of existence. It's a major change in the worldwide concepts and practices of how something works or is accomplished. A paradigm shift can appear within a wide variety of contexts, as we'll see today, from scientific research to just any industry. So let's address this Civil War issue. No matter what people say with this political rhetoric, okay, the Civil War was fought over you. This has been the foundational crisis of our country, and the seeds of it that has germinated is still present in our society today. Okay, it's always been this divide. I forgot how many Americans died, but it was a lot, hundreds of thousands. Okay, but this picture shows you how intense, okay, this war and fight for the fundamental issue that have always existed in our country, and that's you. You have always been the focus of the economic foundation as well as the social structure in this country. And so, again, this first Civil War that was fought over Black people, because what you did for this country changed this country forever. Okay, the things that, and we've gone over this in the videos previously. I won't go into it, but I just want this picture to sink in, because somehow we have people out here trying to say that this war was not fought over Black folks when we know that it was. Okay, so what is a civil war? A civil war is when you have two factions of ideology.
So these people fought each other, killed their brothers to keep us enslaved. They killed their brothers to keep us enslaved. Do you think they don't mind taking out a few more to keep us enslaved? They've been gaslighting us for 400 years. They've been telling us, don't worry about it, because you're going to get yours in the by and by. And I'm all good with that. But guess what? I'm also good with standing up for myself. I'm also good with defending my family. I'm also good with defending my people. See, this is what some of y'all don't realize. So y'all want me to just get along with everybody. I'm not going to get along with everybody, because some people are liars. Some people tell half truths. Some people have agendas. I'm not here. I told y'all that. I'm not here for that. I'm here for our people to wake up. I'm here for our people to be delivered. Guess what? It's no good if just one of us get delivered. It's no good if one of us get rich. It's no good if one of us just get home. If we all don't get out of here, we all done for. Nobody can make it by themselves. You cannot survive alone. You have to be a people group. You have to come together. We have to hold hands. We have to be righteous. I have to look after your interests while you look after my interests. We cannot be manipulating each other. That's what they want us to do. We can't lie to each other. That's what they want us to do. Unless two walk together, unless two agree, how can they walk together? We have to be unified. They don't want that. And that's why you got people that be put in the midst, right, to cause confusion, right? And you have entertainers who come in there and tell half truths and half lies, or say I'm an Israelite or I'm a Jew, but they live in foul. They look wicked. They look just like all the other Luciferians. But guess what? They acknowledge that we Israel. Somebody make it make sense. Somebody got to stand up for righteousness. Don't you know that very few gonna be saved? Don't you know very few making it into the kingdom? Somebody got to stand up for righteousness. Somebody got to stand up for holiness. Somebody got to tell the truth, because everybody ain't telling the truth. And some of y'all get mad at me when I'm telling the truth. I'm fighting for souls. I'm trying to make our people wake up so we can unite and come together, turn back to the Most High. I'm telling the truth so our people can be delivered from all these plots and traps and tricks that they got around us. I'm telling the truth so our people won't be alphabets no more. I'm telling the truth so we can have a righteous nation again. Somebody got to do it.
Is warring against each other. And there's always something at stake that they're warring over. And again, in this case, it was you, the wealth that you created for this country, and the fact that if you were not going to be this free labor class again, then they were willing to fight to the death in order to keep you in this state of existence. And keep this in mind, okay? Keep this in mind, because as we go through this, this is very, very important, because the paradigm shift that's taking place.
Family, give me a one if you can hear this. Somebody say they can't hear it. Give me a one if y'all can hear this. Give me a two if you can't. I'm going to continue playing and watch.
Has a lot to do with what you're looking at right now. Okay. So the Civil War, in my opinion, okay, others may agree, Civil War II is putting Americans against the people we call migrants. Okay, this is a plan to destabilize the economy. And one of the reasons, again, one of the reasons why they want to destabilize the country is because they have done everything possible, okay, to eliminate Black people. Okay, you know, we all know the list. Okay, the guns that they brought in our community, the drugs, you know, putting us at the bottom of the financial network in this country, where we're never able to set up any type of corporate structure on our own, okay, by design. So this is a calculated, orchestrated plan that has been in the works for decades. Even when you go back to the Nixon administration in 1971, this is where it really all started, okay, where the United States government sold out the American people to China, okay, and then, you know, from that point on, we saw this media propaganda that always told us that American government and the corporations were fighting for our rights, when in actuality they were fighting for the rights of the global elite and the people that control America. Okay, brother, you can remove that. I wanna talk about a couple of things here. If you see the picture where those trucks are you know, going down the highway towards Mexico from America, I wanted to talk about that for a second.
Okay, I'll look for that one.
Okay, so
oh, I see it. You want me to put it up?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Do me a favor and tilt your phone.
Okay. Up.
Back. Yeah, the top back. Yeah, that way you're more
That's
centered.
good.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna bring that photo now.
Okay.
Just lost it. Wait a second.
No problem. But yes.
Here you go. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So one of the things, part of the deception, you know, the decades-long deception that they have perpetrated on the American people, okay, and we always know that when America has a cold, we have a flu, okay? But these trade wars that they talk about is fake, okay? And I'm going to show you today why they're fake. But this civil war includes America, China, and Mexico, okay? And it's a global power realignment, okay, or paradigm shift, because 5 to 10 of the major manufacturers, including General Motors, have all moved their plants to Mexico, okay? So they can say whatever they want. Those of us that know, we know that the American government, and we're going to show why, is deliberately allowing these people into the country, okay, because of the trade deficit that they have with Mexico and China. What are they battling over?
Now that makes a lot of sense to me, right? That they're letting in the Chinese, they're letting in the Mexicans, the Venezuelans, all these people because of this trade imbalance, right? And so you notice like some of the stories of how some of the Chinese are buying up some huge plots of land in America, and you know they're bringing in a lot of the Mexicans and stuff like that. And so, you know, when we look at the trade imbalance, you know, that I think that's part of the picture. I think the other part of the picture is, you know, of course, the Great Reset and the removing of the Negro, right? So that Psalm 83 conspiracy, in my opinion, is still going on. It's still those nations who were, you know, let's move them far away from their lands, right? It's those same nations who are part of the Psalm 83 conspiracy, which would include China, Mexico, you know, the Western nations and things like that. And so what we see happening here is, you know, they know They know that their time is up. They know that they got to get rid of us. They know this, right? They know the prophecies better than us. Just think about it for a sec. These people have AI that's on a different level than the one we're using. Do you not think that they then ran the biblical prophecies through AI and all the other texts and some of the other texts we don't even have access to through that thing, and then got an idea, hey, 2019, they probably gonna wake up and then we gonna be judged and then they gonna rule over us, so we got to get rid of these folks. I'm just saying, just look at what's happening. Look at what happened after 2019, the whole thing with the lollipop, right? The same thing what they were like, oh, we care so much about the black community, eat your lollipop. We care so much about Africa, eat your lollipop. I'm just saying. And now they're passing all these laws, and don't get it twisted. Texas want to act like they're against the whole border issue, right? And they're standing up to protect their borders and not allow these people in, but they would take a lot of these migrants and send them to other states. At the same time, Texas was passing laws against teaching what? Critical race theory. Can we say Black history? Who do you think is targeted? Who do you think these people after? See, y'all think we all getting along. Y'all think we all citizens. Y'all think that we all trying to be Americans. No. They ain't never considered us Americans. They never considered us citizens. Can you not see what's happening? Can you not put the puzzle pieces together to get the picture?
They're battling over the resources, okay? Because again, the old saying, he who controls the gold controls the world. And so we have this battle. They tell us that it's
he who controls the spice controls the universe. Doom, telling you about what happened. A Messiah-like figure coming to save his people, all that stuff. I know it was white folks. I'm just saying. Same thing with this whole Battle of the Planet of the Apes stuff. Come on, y'all got to go read between the lines of these movies. These people telling you everything they're going to do to you and what they're doing and what the story is.
It's a trade war, when in fact, the United States have always been a partner with China and Mexico. Okay, so, these lies that they spew out to try to act as if our corporation, because it's really our corporations, okay, that run the world. They actually put forth policies that our politicians regurgitate because of kickbacks that they get, in all industries. And we're going to take a look at that. But I want you to take a good look at these trucks. These trucks, okay, they're headed to the border. Okay, these are trucks from American corporations. Okay, they're headed to the border to Mexico like they do every single day. This is not covered. They keep us hoodwinked, with other things that are going on. But this is what they're doing. They have de-invest in America. And not just Black people are going to suffer from this, although we're going to suffer the most. Now, white people are beginning to see the handwriting on the wall. Okay. So let's talk about some of the weapons that are going to be used, or that is being used in this Civil War too. Okay. The weapons are economic chaos, food shortages, lawlessness, utilities, homelessness, unemployment, incarceration, taxes on the American people, culture wars, surveillance, and crime. Now there's a word that many people are unfamiliar with. It's called corporatocracy. Okay, and what corporatocracy means is it's a economic, political, and judicial system controlled by business, corporations, or for corporate interests. Okay, Brother Lance, if you would put that the picture of the spider that I have with the different corporate.
So let me go to another part, because this is a long video. I'm not going to show it all. Let me put the link in there for those who want to go watch it later. All right, so here's another part I want y'all to listen to.
Thank you, Brother Lance. That kind of got swept under the media. Well, not swept. This was because, again, we focus on the government a lot, which is true. The government is behind everything that happens in this country and in the world. Okay. However, we underestimate the power of the U.S. corporations that have an effect on us in all of the areas that I showed with the spider. Okay. And we're going to see this very clearly. But what happened was Mexico replaced China, okay, as the top exporter to the U.S. in 2023. This is very, very significant. And so there is an agreement, I believe, with the Mexican government and our government that they were going to allow this type of thing to happen at the U.S. southern border, where people can just crash, invade the country, okay, and make it look like, it's some type of, illegal immigration, when it's something that has been planned for decades, and I'm going to show you how. Okay, but yeah, so Mexico, and this is very significant, has replaced China. This is why we went from, China, depending on China so much. Now our corporate manufacturers and major plants are in Mexico. So they're doing trade with America. So what happens is the American corporations no longer want to pay you $20 an hour, $30, or whatever they're paying you. Okay. Because of the system, and I always show this of the serf and peasant against the lord, kings, and knights. And see, the corporations are the ones that are fueling, okay, this Civil War too, because they are not going to pay Black people anymore what they are worth, okay, and what they know that they owe Black people. Okay, they are not going to do that. Okay, and so this is the most asinine thing that a government and the corporations that have become wealthy off the backs of our ancestors can do. Okay, so the trade deficit with Mexico, Mexico replaces China as the top exporter to the U.S. in 2023 of a staggering $475.6 billion, $500 billion. Okay, so again, what they do with the double forked tongue is, while they're uploading all this garbage and telling our people and making us have this false hope and showing celebrities and showing bling bling and doing all these other things, okay, they're bamboozling us. Okay, because this paradigm shift that's coming, it's going to take us down. It's going to have an effect on Black America. And our people, we've been through a lot. But again, we're going to have to stand up against this. I'm very proud of the people in Chicago. I don't know what's happening in New York, okay, but our people in New York, they got to stand up too, because again, we're focusing on the migrants. And, you know, I know people might get upset with me when I say this, but what has been done to their countries where they came from have made them the way they are. And the reason why they have this attitude is because this is what has been promised to them. Matter of fact, I heard one of the migrants in New York say that. They were interviewing him, and he said, well, I guess all of the things they told us was not true. What is he talking about? What did they tell them? Okay, so you have a situation where they have already equipped them with cell phones, where they forget about, before we even talk about the money, they have a way to communicate that the government is feeding information to them, okay, in this Civil War too, that allows them to navigate the system where the American people that have been here, okay, and blacks in particular, okay, are the ones that's being affected by this. Okay, so this is the first time that Mexico in 20 years became the leading source of goods imported by the U.S. And as I said, this is an invasion of the body snatchers, because there's no question you're being replaced. Okay, and we're going to have to take some drastic actions to fight against this. But replacing Black people is orchestrated. Now, when I said that I'm going to give you proof of the fact that they are orchestrating this, it's right here. The latest report is that the government is giving temporary protected status to an estimated 472,000 Venezuelans who arrived in 2023. This act alone allows them to work in the U.S. Okay. Now I'm going to read that again in case it didn't sink in. So this Civil War, okay, was set up basically with the same mentality that you saw from the first Civil War. It was because of you. Because believe it or not, this has always been the fundamental issue in America, Black people. And it will always be, because you are so valuable to the existence of this country.
So didn't I say it was all about you? How long ago? It's all about you. So look, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put this link out here, and for those who come on, I'm gonna bring y'all up one at a time and let you speak, and then let you go. I'm curious to see what y'all think about all this stuff that's going on. I'm not gonna pin it, but as he said, and as I've been saying, it's all about us. And these people, don't get it twisted, they don't like you. The Bible says what? You will be hated of all nations for my name's sake. Is that not what the Most High said? Everything the Bible has said has happened to our people. I was doing some research recently, and I saw that the Igbo even talk about how they were in Portugal, in Spain. They actually talk about this. I've never heard that before, that the Igbo confirm that for themselves. And so right now, you know, we got things that are changing on the horizon, and in my opinion, I don't think we have long. Right? I don't think we have long. And I think we're in dire situation, and a lot of our people don't realize it. Your moms, your dads, your cousins, your aunts, your uncles, they don't know what's going on. Right? And so we got to try to wake up people and not be playing games and acting like things ain't happening when they happening. Hello, Sister Tam. How you doing?
I'm doing better than I was. Thank you for asking. You know, we all have uh, the template of the first exodus of our ancestors, and remember there was a war going on, and they went around the back way, and at the time of the exodus, I think it was called the war. The those who cannot be named call it the war of the firstborn of the firstborn. They were warring because the the powers that be would not let the Israelites leave, and they had known they were. Now I learned this when I was in a Jewish synagogue. They had learned that the next plague was going to be the death of the firstborn. And they broke out in a war because they wanted these people out of there, because a lot of them were the firstborn. Now, I can't prove that. I can only just tell you what they were teaching around the time of Pesach. But look, Isaiah 43 gives us a snapshot of what's going to happen when we leave the lands of our captivities. Some of us will walk through the water, and he said, we'll pass through the water, and we just have to have the faith to do that. The rivers, he says, won't overflow us. He will be with us. Some of us will pass through literal fire. I remember back, I think might have been 2018 here in Tennessee. Our family had planned a family reunion in Gatlinburg, and Gatlinburg basically burnt to the ground because of some kids here from Oak Ridge were up there playing with matches in a high wind. So that was a terrible time for the GSM&P. But there were people who were trapped because of the fire. Look at Isaiah 43, because we're at almost at go time, it seems like, and there's a lot of things that it's just stacking up. And the prophet John Paul Jackson said when he was living that things within the world and in the United States in particular would get so bad, but it would be like what you said about frogs in water, and they didn't even realize that they were in trouble until the water was turned up and it was too late. Everything's going to be happening at the same time, and it's very important for us to keep our focus. I'm so glad for this conversation that you're having today. It's wonderful. I don't have a whole lot of things to say, but I really hope, I have a YouTube channel, but I'm not a good videographer, and my accent is pretty thick. I mean, I'm from North Carolina and my husband's from Tennessee, and we don't even understand what each other is saying sometimes. So, brother Yacoba, I really hope that you will bring that out. Just tell the people. In time. I'm not trying to tell you what to do. I'm asking. Please bring out that snapshot of the second Exodus. In Isaiah 43, and what all we're gonna have faith to do. We're gonna have faith to do this stuff. I'm gonna get off now.
Okay, thank you, Sister Tam. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Love you guys.
Brother Karis, how's it going? Brother Karis?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear.
All right. Been doing running all day. That's what you get when you're doing stuff with Question Out Africa. You can't even hardly try and get a bite to eat. But listen, we can eat while we can, because you see what's happening. So, Brother Yacoba, thanks for bringing us on and commenting about what we're seeing, because is it a coordinated effort? Absolutely. I still believe that this is just a plan to destabilize the United States to the point that they bring the blue helmets in.
I think that's part of it, because we know that the UN and the US, as someone stated, financing the immigration thing, and they're the ones that's giving all that money to the migrants, cards and stuff like that, and vouchers. But as I said, when you look at the end goal of these things, it seems to be to replace us. I mean, even this particular guy Neil Fraser, he said the same thing, and I don't think he identifies as an Israelite. Same thing with that pastor I was showing. It just seems like we are, frogs in the pot of boiling water. What do you think?
Well, I think, it's a desensitization of what we see. Well, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it until they're knocking at your door, telling you to get out your home, because you're being, sent somewhere else for your personal protection, and I'm waiting to see that. I believe that that's what's getting ready to happen, and who are they going to do it to?
Would you say then that the fact that they're putting these immigrants in black neighborhoods is because they plan on replacing blacks in those neighborhoods?
Well, absolutely. Absolutely. And what you have to understand is that when you have resources that's now going to be fixed, that's now going to be limited, now those resources are going to be constrained, and then that constraint is going to cross over into feelings. And then guess what? Black folks are going to start retaliating. And, who are they going to, it's going to be like the other communities that get the, other favorable treatments of anti-hate bills. And we're just sitting here as, well, we're the bad guys that hate everybody. No,
yeah.
We understand, and that, you see what I'm saying? It's like, that's the argument that they're trying to have, but you can't just overpopulate something and someone with limited resources and honestly probably limited skills that can contribute to the community. And the crazy thing is, I saw this when I was out in the Middle East in Jordan, and they had a lot of Palestinian refugees all over the place. And I'd even asked the Jordanians, what do they do? And the Jordanians are like, they don't do anything. They just sit here. Well, how do they live? And they just point like they live just like this. And they're just out there, right? Because they needed somewhere to go. And what you did see was there was a lot of other shady underpinnings because, right, the oldest, occupations in the book were being employed because that's ends up happening. So, it's going to be a break point to where you're going to see a lot of crime. You're going to see a lot of other issues going on. And there's going to be the fact that they're not going to be prosecuted. And we're going to be looking and staring at each other like, all right, so when do we go? Because clearly we're not wanted here. And this is just crazy.
Well, I know just like they replaced some of them in those schools in Chicago, they're going to replace them in their homes. And people are going to be kicked out on the streets and they're not going to have any recourse. I know that one guy had some migrants in the back of his truck. He couldn't do anything about it, right? So we can see what's coming.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the best way that we need to proceed is, honestly, just stay out the way. Stay out the way, because it's going to be a lot worse because of how people are trying to maneuver around here with, who's the target? Who's the ultimate target? We already know that that's going to be us. What are they going to try and do? Create some sort of dissension amongst us of, well, see this, see that, look at here, look at that. No, it's best in this time, leave things alone, let the Most High deal with it. And honestly, ask the Most High to continue to keep you protected, because we know the plan, we see the plan. So don't get caught up in the judgment of the wicked.
Yeah, definitely, and keep your head on the swivel and stay strapped. That's my opinion.
Yeah, exactly. All right.
All
Thanks,
right,
brother.
thank you, brother. Thank you, brother Karras. Brother Eric, how's it going? You're muted.
Shalom, shalom. Can you hear me?
Long time no here, brother Eric. How you been?
What's up, brother? What's up? First of all, big ups to you and Teo for everything you do for our community. All right, now listen, I ain't gonna be long, but you know, whenever I come on, I know I sound like a broken record, but maybe that's my assignment, maybe that's my anointing. You understand? We have to stop butchering each other, tearing each other down over foolishness. You know that remnant that the scriptures talk about of us being saved? If you keep it up, it's going to get smaller and smaller. I don't want to see none of us not make it. But we can't handle this bad baggage. I remember the movie with Denzel Washington when he was some kind of skipper or some kind of person in the Navy, high rank in the Navy. And he told the man, if you don't close the hatch, we all going down. Them people had to be sacrificed. Now, I'm not saying we should be sacrificing our people, but we can't handle bad baggage because they tearing us down. If you can't control yourself, if you can't control your mouth, if you can't let the men and women of Yah do the work, just go sit down somewhere. We don't need your mouth. We don't need your distraction. We don't need you getting in the way of our exodus. If you don't like exodus, how about deliverance? Because that's what it boils down to. Us being saved from our enemies. You're talking of foolishness about what it's no exodus in. Man, shut your mouth. Teach on what the Most High tell you to teach on about waking up his people. And stop all this thing here, thing there. It's dumb. How long are we going to keep doing this stuff? We don't have time for this. If you can't see what these people have in store for us, you are deaf, dumb, and blind.
For real.
They said, I'm going to tell you, we've been telling you we don't like you. Now we're going to show you.
Yep.
We pulling out all the stops. We bringing it up. And let me tell you what the next thing come. Famine. Because how they going to feed all these people they bringing in here? How they going to feed them? Who they going to give it to first? You're going to be last on the totem pole, as always. So stop the nonsense. And that's all I got. I done talk.
All right. Thank you, brother Eric. Appreciate it. Jesse.
Peace and blessings, my brother. Your work is always appreciated, man. I thank God for you and your brother, man. You guys are doing some very good work. I'm gonna be short. Only thing I could say, my brother, is that everybody's coming here for a reason, and everybody coming down to Babylon, bruh. Babylon is gonna fall. It's already fallen, and the Most High, you already know this. I'm not telling you anything that you don't already know. For the way that they've treated the Most High's people, his gold. And it don't matter what they do. It don't matter who replaces us, who don't. They're all coming here. They're all coming here. I mean, I'm from Montclair, man, and it used to be it's broken up in the war. The fourth war was made for the blacks to come back in the day to work for the rich people up the hill. That's why the fourth ward was made in Montclair. If you look this up, this is a historical fact. And when I lived there, it was all black businesses in the fourth ward, everywhere. Even my uncle's mother owned it. She owned an all black diner, which that's something you don't hardly see back in that day. You know what I mean?
Where are you from, brother Jesse?
I'm from Montclair, New Jersey.
New Jersey, okay.
And in the fourth ward in Montclair, New Jersey, it was all black, and the south end was the middle class blacks. You know what I'm saying? It was it was multicultural, but we had our section, right? Now it's all covered with people from other places. I don't want to call no names out on YouTube, from other places. You know what I mean? So now when you walk through, you don't see anybody that look like you. You know what I'm saying? And you know, I work on the road sometime, and I'm looking at who's doing all the work. It's not us. All the construction work, because you know we used to have all that, all the
Yep.
masonry stuff. We used to have all that stuff. And everywhere you go, dude, I'm telling you, utility workers, if they ain't from south of the border, they other people. They ain't us. It's a handful. You can actually count on your fingers how many of us is doing this kind of stuff. So as far as them replacing us, it's already in motion.
So let me ask you, brother Jesse, where is our Where are our people? They working at McDonald's and stuff. I'm like, where are they? Because I agree with you. Ain't none of them in construction no more. I mean, very little.
McDonald's, Kentucky Fried Chicken,
Mm-hmm.
or some of us is with the orange suit on the side of the road.
Yep.
A lot of us.
Yep.
A lot of us. We're not looking like we used to.
Nope.
Not at all. The whole landscape of everything has changed. And the rhetoric from the big house, you know what that is in DC, the big house is everything but us. Everything but us. The money goes overseas now. That's what the big thing is. So everything but us. And these jokers don't know that they're getting ready to dig themselves a hole. They're already digging themselves a hole. Now, you know, the thing is with us is, and I'll be short, is that we need to get ready. We need to keep on trying to wake our brothers and sisters up, keep on talking to them. And some of them are very ignorant. They don't really want to know. Like the brother said before, I can definitely feel what he's saying. You tell somebody that, and they're off in somebody else. They'll be, well, the 400 years was a long time ago, and it doesn't matter. I said, well, if it didn't matter, why is this like this? If it doesn't matter. And then who is the Bible talking about anyway? I said this to another guy from another culture. I don't want to call no names. and I said, read Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 68. He said, well, I'm Catholic. I said, read that. And you tell me who does that describe? Because God's people have a certain characteristics about them, and they have a certain situation that they're in economically, socially, and everything else across the board. Who lines up with that? Just that scripture alone. We don't even need to talk about nothing else. Let's talk about that. Let's stay on that. Since preachers want to preach so much, preach that.
Yeah.
You see?
And what did JJ say on Good Time? If anybody need deliverance, it's us.
Right. We need deliverance, brother. We want to be everything except who God called us to be. He's telling you who you are.
Yep.
And it's like he says, you know, your inheritance is worth millions. And we're so stupid, some of us, I hate to use that word, is that I don't believe you. I'd rather go over here and believe this. I'd rather believe that I'm this. But you're not that. God is not a religion. He never was a religion. He never said that. He said, you are my people. I chose you from amongst the nations. I chose you. I didn't choose Europe. I didn't choose whoever. I chose you. Sure, the other nations are but spittle. This is in the book.
They don't believe the book.
They don't believe the book. They believe, some people believe that God is a woman. You'd be surprised. I had an argument with a man, dude.
A lot of foolishness out there today.
But brother, I'm a sign off because I know somebody else want to jump in.
All right.
But I love you, my brother. I wanted to tell you that the last time I talked to you, and you're doing some great work, man. And I thank God for you and your brother, man, because when I started listening to y'all, brother, and started researching, of course, the other brothers like Darby, and it's another brother named Israel's Rising. He's a dynamite teacher like yourself. And I've just learned so much. And I want to thank y'all for that, my brother.
All right. Thank you, brother Jesse. Appreciate it. Sister Chantel, how's it going?
Shalom, big bro. How you doing?
I got you up
Man,
late. Yeah, huh? I think it's late in the UK, huh?
well, it's almost 10 o'clock, so it's not too bad. It's bad, but it's
Okay.
not too bad. I like the fact that you've called everybody individually, keeps it, keeps it orderly. Um, for me, I'm like, I don't understand how, well, you know how I feel, how people can turn around and believe that there's no second Exodus when it is all over the Bible, it's all over the scriptures, it's in the Apocrypha, it's literally about salvation. So is a 400-year prophecy. It is about the salvation, the saving us from our oppressors. The problem is that we've been under Eurocentric Christianity to the point where words don't mean what they're supposed to mean anymore. So it's like we just want to spiritualize, excuse me, we want to spiritualize everything when in actual fact it was saving us from those that oppress us, from those that do us harm. Now, ultimately, yes, the devil is the spiritual oppressor, but he has his agency on this earth, which is these other people who are doing what they're doing. All these nations have had a hand in it. All of them, you know. So for me to actually turn around and say, oh, you don't believe in this, if you don't believe in a 400-year prophecy, then you don't believe in the second Exodus, then what do you believe in? What are we going to do? What, we're going to sit here with these people?
Exactly.
Wait, and wait for Jesus to come and split the curtains of the clouds and come and take us. Like, we got to wait for our heaven. We got to live right to go to heaven. How is that any different from Christianity? That is a death cult. They get to live their heaven, everything. They've had everything. And they get to live and enjoy the fruits of their labor, the fruits of our labor, actually. They get to enjoy that. While we scrimp and are in the squalor that they put us in. And that's supposed to be our life, and we get to be happy to die, to go home, to enjoy something.
And what people don't realize, when they do this great reset, even if you have money, you won't have money after the reset.
None of them will. That's their heaven that they are marching towards. They gave everything to this system. They're starting to see it now, and now they want us to fight with them. No, because a lot of our people, even if they haven't woken up to who they are, they've woken up to, oh, this is your judgment. This is on you. You didn't want us. A lot of our people are like, no, I'm done with this. I'm done with this flex. I'm done. You go deal with it on your own. You didn't care when it was us. You could have changed the game when you had the power to do so, by making sure, like, they didn't seem to understand that we was like the prototype for the whole world to be afflicted, as it says, that we was going to be the light, that we're going to be the example. So if we're the example in righteousness, they follow in righteousness. But if we're the example in a cursed state, that's their example. But the only difference is that the Most High is going to take us out. Now, for those that don't believe that, well, you stay here with the rest of them then. You stay here with the rest of them.
And you know what
I don't get that.
You know, for someone to say there's no second Exodus, because the word Exodus wasn't really used in the Bible. It was used by those who described the particular chapter. I'm like, that's just ridiculous, right? I'm like, the concept is there, right? The whole idea that a second time he's going to return, bring us back to the land from captivity, and that, you know, they're not going to even remember the first Exodus because of this Exodus. What do you call that then? It's a second Exodus if they're not going to remember the first. I'm like, don't mess with my head. Don't lie to people. Don't play with me. We are in dangerous times, and people who gaslight and say these aren't the droids you're looking for, that really drives me up the wall, you know, because we in trouble. We in trouble.
Exactly. And I just want to say, I want to give a shout out to our brothers, Salt of the Earth, who basically said this, They turned around and said, if you don't mind, but they turned around and said how, what was it? The Exodus, you're not going to find it in the scriptures, second Exodus, because it hasn't happened. The first Exodus is a past tense. They literally wrote it. It was written, Moses wrote it after the fact. So it was called Exodus because they exit out of Egypt. We haven't left. We're still here. So we can't call it, you're not going to find it in the scripture saying, oh, the second Exodus. But it says the gathering. I'm going to take my people. I'm going to put them back in the land. What is that precisely? How is it that that even these Gentiles understand? You hear on the news, oh, so many Americans are exiting out of America to Mexico. You hear that. They have the common sense to say that you can listen to that and you can accept that. But when it comes to us leaving and the Exodus being applied to us, oh, so funny. Everybody except the Negro. Everyone except the Negro. So you say that, but then you fall in line with the rest of them who say everyone except the Negro. We are the only ones that have to stay put and suffer. Everybody else gets to leave. Everybody else gets to go. And we've got so many of these Gentiles going up into our home, taking our inheritance, and you want us to stay here and linger with the dregs that are left here with them? You must be mad. When it's time to go, I'm gone. Any Israelite that wants to stay here, be it on your head. I ain't trying to stay here with these people. They're crazy. I'm sorry. I'm done.
All right. Thank you, Sister Chantel. Brother Mike.
Hey, how you doing, brother?
I'm good. How you been?
I can't complain, brother. I cannot complain. Been doing pretty good.
I had to stir the pot a little bit today, Brother Mike.
You know, I knew one day you had to say something. I knew one day you had to say something. And I mean, and it's a sad time for us. Truthfully, I'm gonna say it this way, bruh. If you had a group of brothers and you notice that one brother can twist some stuff around, and that brother, and we talking about a time of trouble, I will be reluctant to trust that particular brother or sister because of some past statements or teachings that I did not agree with. And that's where we're at now. We're at this time. If you are going to make a statement about some small words, Exodus, that's small to me. Second Exodus, that's still small. And you're talking about, and I can prove it? That's irritating to me. Because Exodus, it means to exit, don't it? I mean, at least I thought it did. It means to exit. The fact that the premise of a massive or second Exodus, it is biblical. I mean, the scriptures clearly states, Yah said he's going to gather his people from the four corners of the earth, not the four corners of Africa. He said the whole planet. And this is a second. He thought, I know he was talking about, there was other times where Yah went in and saved his people and things. That's true. That is absolutely true, but not on a global scale. And I mean, it's just we had a time where, and Karis had to correct me on this. I was happy that our people was waking up. And Karis went into Daniel, the book of Daniel. He said, some are going to be, some are going to waken up to life, and some into what's that scripture? And some are going to be woken to judgment. And here we are. Everybody should not be a teacher. And it seems like some people want to stand up as a teacher, when in essence, you probably need to fall back, because there is a very heavy judgment that comes with being a teacher. And if Yah chose you, there's no fear. If he didn't choose you, you need to be in fear. And especially when you use a word, we're talking about you can prove this is not true. That's a man, I get weary on that, bro. That's just me. I know I'm not a teacher. Now I'm not gonna sit up and say what is and what ain't. I will do having a discerning mind and heart. And you're always praying to Yah to keep you on the up and up. And I would tell any brother and sister that. Ask for Yah to give you discernment. And we move on, because he's not going to leave you on the leash. He's not. But when you feel that you know everything, that you look at some Hebrew words and you go, no, we ain't trying to do all that. We go get to that point, but I think we're going to be on the continent when we get to speaking our original language, as we may say, Hebrew or whatever. Let's get to that time first, but don't sit up and tell somebody this is how you pronounce something. Because my first thing is going to be this. Did Moses teach you how to speak Hebrew? And I'm quite sure he didn't. But I mean, I just look at a lot of stuff, bro, and it's kind of discouraging, like I said.
Yeah, a lot of them speaking Yiddish, bro. They ain't even speaking Hebrew. So, it's like, but people fall for that as well. And then the whole idea of translations and transliterations, they're not looking at that context, right? That, of course, you're going to have something to define the chapter, right? Because they had to translate what the meaning of the chapter was. So they give it a grouping. They call it the Exodus. I'm like, what do you expect?
Yeah, and bro, it's a happy time, and at the same time, it's a sad time. I mean, we're trying our best to come together as a family, as a nation. But I never would have thought in a million years, bro, because I always heard brothers say, "Oh, that's an Asian," and now it's starting to sink in on me now. It's really, truly starting to sink in. And they were like you did the video and talk about the gatekeepers. Yeah, it's starting to sink in now. It's really, truly starting to sink in with me. And I'm not gonna hold you on that, brother, and things, and I go ahead and fall back.
All right, thanks, brother Mike.
All right, man, stay up there.
All right. Brother Bruce, the most bravest man I know. How you doing, Brother Bruce?
I'm good, Minister Yacoba. Yeah, man, you've been laying it out, and I thank you, Minister Yacoba, and Minister Teyu, for continuing to fight in spite of everything that has come up against you and all the negative talk and everything, because you've been doing such a good job in warning the people about the 400-year prophecy and the second Exodus. And then when they come up against it, I say, look, you don't have to believe it you want, but you've been warned. Just like in the days of Noah, you've been warned and you reject it. And so we just have to keep doing what we're doing and warn the people. But you've been doing an awesome job, man. And I have so much respect. I don't have too much respect for a lot of people, man, because they ain't nothing but liars. And full of.
And Brother Bruce, I respect you a lot too. I'm serious, because I see you contending for the faith over there, man. I'm like, Brother Bruce got it going on. I'm like, you a brave dude, man, and you be fighting too. I respect it,
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. Because I try to, and people say, why do you do that? Why do you do that? Those your bishops over there. I'm like, look, those are men. You may not see this, but they have been called to do this. They may not realize it. They've been called to do this. And I'm not going to allow you to come up against my brethren, Teyu Ministry, Dante, even John, Dalton, and the rest of them, because I'm gonna stick up for my brother and my family. I'm not going to let you sit up and just talk to them. They're trying to help you because you refuse to see it because you've been indoctrinated. But anyway, I came on. I'm going to be short because I'm at work. But of all the things, man, when this great reset or this civil war may happen, we don't know how long we're going to be in our condition. In other words, what I'm saying is we don't know what we're going to have to endure.
Yeah, yeah.
Because if the power grid goes out, gas goes out, electric grid goes out, we don't, and heaven forbid, man, if it's in the wintertime and we're going to have to survive. So we're going to have to start. This was my thought because I was watching, I watched the movies and I watched Netflix. I was watching this series called Black Summer. It was about zombies, but I wasn't really concerned about the zombies. But what I was concerned about are how I observed the depravity of man during that time. Instead of coming together, they were fighting, trying to steal, vandalize, raid each other's property and food. So, and I say that to say this: we got to prepare. We got to start preparing, even if it's just from the small things like preparing your family and your friends, having them having some rendezvous points if you get separated, whether in state or out of state, having sleeping bags just in case we're in the wintertime and ain't no electricity, ain't no gas, you know. And it's just we have to start preparing ourselves for if we have to move, having to go pack, because we don't know how long we're going to have to endure this before the Lord make a way for us to exit. And so I want people to start getting rice and beans and making sure you at least have a sleeping bag so you can endure a winter. And we gotta start thinking of ways and try to pass things along to our people so we don't know what we're gonna have to endure during this time. And when I saw that movie the other day, I was like, wow, I don't know if we're gonna have to endure something like that. Not the zombie part I'm speaking of, you know what I mean? I'm speaking of just trying to endure, trying to get through a winter, hard times, people who sick, start getting medicines together, have a to-go pack or a survival pack along with a to-go pack. And I just find that because of my past military, and I just find that we gonna have to start thinking that way instead of just waiting and not preparing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and we got to have a mind of working together and not manipulating and deceiving each other and taking advantage of each other. Because, like I said before, we're all we got in the Most High. That's it. We got to learn to come together.
Yeah, absolutely. Because even if we don't do it as a group, you still got to prepare your family and some friends, and then we can pass things along, in certain platforms, because we have to start, because it's going to happen. I don't care what those folks say. Look, you've been warning them, and I've been told those people on the other station or the other podcast, look, everything that Taylor has been saying has come to pass. Now, you may not accept it. You just in denial. You know me, man. I just tell them how it is.
Yeah.
I just say you guys are in denial and you're not paying attention. You're deliberately rejecting knowledge instead of accepting it. Well, let me check this out. So for our people, for our family of y'all, we got to start preparing. And lastly, man, let me get out of here. Again, man, I thank you because you've been called to do that. You, Dante, and Benaiah, all of us, Pastor Kelly, everybody, and those in the listening audience in the chat who've been doing their part and have been passing things along. So just keep doing it. And start preparing yourself, family, because we don't know how long we're going to have to endure being here when everything pops off, So.
All right. Thanks, Brother Bruce. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you, brother.
All right. I forgot who it was, the brother who was there waiting. You would have been next, but I guess you had to go. So you were going to be next. All right. Lady J.
Good evening, Brother Yakoba.
Hey, Lady J, how's it going?
Well, just hanging in there. But I can honestly say, I don't even know where to start. But I can tell you this. If we as a people do not wake up and recognize who we are and to see the enemy clearly, that they're coming for us, we're not going to survive it, because we're not even going to realize as to when we need to cry out for the Most High, because we'll be those frogs in the pot slowly cooking.
Yeah.
And You know, when well, a week before, I was watching someone that reported on similar things as what you reported on in your last video. Do you know that they cut his live? They cut it. So when he came back on, he couldn't go back to what he was showing and discussing in case they had cut him again. And when I watched your video, I was like, my gosh, if people do not wake up. And my stepmother, she's from South Carolina, and I love her dearly. And I keep telling her, Mom, the true day of worship is the 7th day. It's not Sunday. But, you know, I don't force it on her, but I gently tell her, you know. And when I watched your video, I called her and I said, Mom, do you know what is happening over there? Because she likes to hibernate because she's retired now. And I says, do you know about all the immigrants that are coming in? All of this that's coming in, you know? And she's like, no. And I'm like, Mom, you cannot be sleeping. You cannot sleep as what you like to do. You need to wake up to see what is happening around you. Because she now lives in California. And it's like, she has not a clue what is going on. And I said, I'm sending you a video and I want you to watch it and pay attention to what is being said. So I pray she's watched it because I haven't spoken to her yet. But in this country, I'm telling you, it's happening on all levels, where a lot of us are asleep. A lot of us want to be so accepted by them that in the workplace, they actually have taken the role of the overseer to watch the rest of us that's planning the escape. And even yesterday, I was having a conversation. They were both Indian, both from Trinidad. One of them I know personally, but the other one was just a passerby talking to my friend. And let me tell you, I was like, wow. So coming from a West Indian background, even West Indians who are not Black, they hate us. And with what was coming out of this man's mouth, because he actually said, what people do you know that just has problems with everyone? And I didn't call it out, he did. And I said, well, that's because it would be biblical. Oh my gosh, talking about agitating demons. This man was so agitated, he would not let me get a word in edgewise, but was telling me about, oh, you know, the man there that you all call the devil, you know, he's giving you that, the blue and the white-haired God to worship. And I says, no, that's not his description in the Bible. If you read the Bible, he didn't even want to hear the word Bible. And so I'm just saying this, that we have no friends in this world. And even though they might even have the West Indian twang, or, you know, the old saying, not all skin folk are kinfolk, this is what's going on. Because it's like they refuse to wake up. They just love this matrix. They love being in this matrix. And so for those of us that know what is happening around us and what is coming and what they're doing behind the scenes to cause deletions, we really do need to stick together. We really do. And like I've always said, we just have to look up, for we know that our redemption draweth nigh. And it seems as though the closer it gets, the worse these people's behavior becomes. So, you know, and the gentleman there, the clip that you showed, the last clip, that would be from Mr. Lance Scurv's channel, whom I know, and I even had a talk on there talking about the locusts. And yeah, there are so many illegals in South Africa at present, just flocking in there, getting jobs, working. And I'm not talking about the immigrants that are entering into the US. I'm talking about these Europeans. And
Yeah,
when
there's
I
over
had
2
that,
million in South Africa.
yeah, and when I had that talk with Lance Scurv, because I was angry when I watched this particular video that was talking about them being there, and they were in code telling their people to come to. I was so angry that day that when I called up Lancelot, is what I call him, I was like, these people, it's like they're not happy with having what they've got, but they also want what belongs to us.
They always did.
And so, you know, there's a name that I mentioned who I know you said you like. And yeah, I understand, you know, he's finding his feet as far as God's word is concerned. But I must admit that, you know, I even had a go at him because he always makes it about the about what you can gain in the material, which, you know, that is what they're attracted to. So, you know, because for myself, if I get the chance to escape, it's to be able to live in peace, for me to be able to worship my Father and Christ.
So, Lady J, can you sum it up for me? Because I got to shut it down
Yes.
and I got one more
Oh,
person.
sorry. Yes. Well, I just want to say that, you know, we really have to look to the Most High because, yeah, we need rescuing. I don't know or see how a lot of us, and I have to speak for myself, how I can do it alone.
I agree.
I just don't see how. If he does not, like, roll out the carpet and say, my child, this is the path to go on. You'll be safe. Go, go, go. I don't know how. So, yeah. But, you know, Brother Yakoba, I just want to say.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Lady J. Appreciate you coming on. All right.
But
Stacey Ann. You have to, yeah.
Yeah, man, I have. Blessings, everybody. Good evening. How are you today?
Yeah, I hear you.
I'm asking how you are doing today.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I'm doing good. How you been?
Me, not too bad. I'll go on in it, you know. So I'm glad I found your channel because I've been searching and, you know, watching a whole lot of things. And so if you have itching ears, you stick some places. So ordinary people who really lack discernment, who truly aren't in Yah or are not truly seeking him, they won't hear when somebody is spreading fallacy. And they won't know for themselves neither, because they are not seeking the truth. And they can't accept it. Ordinary people cannot relate. So if when this return to our homeland starts to happen, a lot of people are going to be just carried away in the like a stampede. That's how it's going to be for some people, because they'll be carried but won't even know where they are going nor why they are going. They can't be led. They'll just have to be caught up. And so if somebody wants to use a different terminology for leaving or departing, it still remains that it will equate to an exodus. That's what it will be. People who aren't filled with the Holy Ghost are easily led by others who are not filled with the Holy Ghost. And so when somebody hears what reality is and cannot connect to it, then it is going to be problematic just for them. So you don't let other people deter you and put that on your head. You hear me, sir? You don't make them stress you out. Because if Yah says people must come home to their own home and a time to leave, I'm sure that's not an indication that you should stay where you are. He's telling you it is time to leave. And if you are leaving, you are departing. And it's not a singular person to whom he's referring. So if you have a massive migration, I think that equates to an exodus. So you don't worry about that. It is precisely what it is. I was scrolling through the other day and I woke up one of your old videos. And you were sharing about the number of persons who are having visions about the destruction of America. And I recall you were having a conversation with a few persons who were on, and you were talking about as in the days of Noah. That's how it's going to be. And you were saying, and close that door, he will. And I'm saying, I'm sharing this with people that my family members especially, I'm saying to them, God says time to come home to the yard. He says time to leave. They are saying, oh, he has been so good to me, but he says time to leave. And that's what is happening precisely the days of Noah. Because when Noah was warning, people call him idiot same way and laughed him to scorn until the day when the door was shut and they could no longer enter. And that is what is going to happen to a lot of our people. It is going to be too late. And so they need to open their ears now and take the message as it is sent. Take it now while they can and run while they have time. And they must make sure that they seek God for direction so that they don't take it upon themselves. Because I agree with you, as you said, people will have to be leaving, but must be led by the Most High God. Because in my estimation, if you pick up yourself and you decide, I'm going here and I'm going there, and you're going back to the homeland, for me, we are still scattered. So,
yeah,
be led by the Holy Ghost. So I just want to thank you for the opportunity to speak and keep on doing what you're doing. You are doing the right thing. And do not. I know people can really detract you because you're firm, but I just want to let you know that I support you. So keep it up.
Thank
God
you.
bless you.
Thank you, Sister Stacy. I appreciate it. So I want to thank all the panel members who came on and gave their opinions. Here's the thing, and I've been saying this for a while now. Sometimes I don't want to say that. I try not to say I told you so, right? Because my goal is to awaken our people, not to be right. And sometimes it gets concerning with me when our people are so easily misled, especially when we're at the door of major changes. And there's going to be a time of suffering. And I watch people, right? I watch people that don't understand that they have been attacked. It's sort of like, somebody behind you, they slap you in the back of the head. you know you've been hit. But what if you can't feel a slap, but you got slapped in the back of the head? And so somebody tries to warn you, hey, you know, that person's been slapping you upside the head. You don't feel it, but you still get the results of being slapped upside the head. And I see people, I'm serious. I've seen so many people, I mean, people, you know, who I've known, you know, when I was in Christianity and ministry and all these things, and people who got the lollipop and all these things, and instantly gone. Instantly gone. They didn't know they got slapped upside the head. They don't know that they were attacked. And so, you know, some people want me to be quiet or be nice and, you know, say, you know, let's talk about this, brother. We don't have time to talk about it. We got time to be honest, time to be truthful, and time to warn. And sometimes I got to dust my feet off. But my concern is that you don't know that you're being slapped upside the head. Some people not here anymore because of a lollipop. Some people not here anymore because of the food and the air and the water. We are assaulted on multiple levels. And yeah, some of them get you know, caught up in it as well. But it's majority us. And people want you to think that all things remain the same since the fathers fell asleep. Ain't nothing to worry about. Go get your next mortgage. Go get your next car note. Go get your next job. Where they're phasing those things out. How many corporations have shut down? How many banks have shut down in the last 3 years? But you think you're going to have a job tomorrow. You think you're going to be able to have a roof over your head tomorrow. Now, the Most High says, I never seen the righteous forsaken or his seed begging bread. So I think we good, those who walking by faith. But guess what? There's a lot of people who ain't walking by faith. There's a lot of people who look like you, who part of our community, and they stuck out there. There's a lot of people who walking by faith who stuck out there. That's why I said, you know, ain't nobody stand alone. That's one of the things I realize. As much as I'm a private person and I like to be by myself, I realize you can't do it by yourself. I need y'all. You need me. We need each other. We got to help each other. Why? Because ain't nobody else care about us. Y'all realize that, right? See, some people don't like me because I'm a matter of fact. And I'm just like, hey, I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to wake you up. I'm trying to help you see what I see. I'm trying to help you realize they got a gun to your head. You don't feel it and you don't see it. I mean, I'm literally seeing people here yesterday, gone tomorrow. That fast. And see, the good thing is about me being a little older is that I know when things were so-called normal. I remember when I could go outside and I could smell the green grass. I don't smell the green grass no more. I remember when I could go outside after a rain and the streets smell clean. The streets don't smell clean after a rain anymore. When the rain come now, it's cough, cough, hack, hack. The food don't taste the same no more. The fruits and veggies don't taste the same no more. I remember when they did. I remember when black folks loved each other and used to get along. Didn't mean we didn't fight. Now the men hating the women and women hating the men. Come on, you can't tell me that's not by design. Now you got men in dresses, women in pants, women looking butchy. I'm just saying, it ain't the same from when I was young. Things are so different. But see, like that frog in the pot, slowly they turn up the heat. Slowly they change the media. Slowly they reprogrammed your children. And now they don't know who they are. It's all by design. And guess who's always the face of perversion? Guess who? Guess who on the media, on TV? Guess who's the face of all perversion? Coincidence? How come we always the face of perversion? How come people hate us so much? Well, if you marketed us with perversion in mind and all you show us as being alphabets and all this kind of stuff and not knowing who we are, of course they're going to hate us. If all you show is our women, being ratchet, of course they're going to hate us. If you show our men with their pants hanging down and never show the doctors and the lawyers, of course the other nations going to hate us. Why you think they hate us? It's by design. The Bible says the whole world, you're going to be hated of all nations for my name's sake. Give me a 1, family, if you think all nations hate black folks. Give me a 2 if you don't. See, my concern is there's going to be more people who drop. And they're going to continue to drop, not knowing that they dropped. That's the sad thing, right? It's in the past, you knew somebody pulled the trigger and that bullet went between, the eyes, right? You knew when somebody, hit you over the head. You knew when you were sick, it took like a few months or something at least. You knew over time you're going to be gone. You're going into eternity. You don't know now. People just not here no more. They were here yesterday. They look good. You talk to them. You shook their hand, and guess what? Boom, they gone. And ain't nobody saying a word. Everybody act like it's not happening. Everybody's trying to act like all things remain the same, but it's not the same. Don't think I'm crazy, and don't make me think I'm crazy, because I'm telling you what I see. I told you, we in trouble. I ain't trying to build up no fear and all this stuff. Well, you cool, but don't you have faith? Of course I have faith. That's why I do what I do. If I didn't, I wouldn't be doing what I do. But you ever heard that the watchman got to warn? Because if the watchman don't warn and that person be taken out, then there's blood on your hands. But if the watchman warns and they continue about their lives in sin, then their blood's on their own hand. I don't have a choice. I watch how people, man, I'm watching, and I'm like, don't y'all see they got a gun to our heads? And they living like they don't have a gun to their head. They living like they living on the beach. They think because they got money and they got success and they're entertainers. No, you're in trouble. You're worse than us because you're close to the devil. Some of you entertainers are worse than the ones who don't have fame and money because y'all closer to the devil. And it concerns me when I read the scriptures and I say, Lord, is there few that be saved? And what the Most High say, yeah. Does that not scare you? That's why I don't play this half-truth stuff, lying, gaslighting, manipulation of words, all this kind of stuff, right? Because I told y'all I fear the Most High. Oh, yes. Plus, it's not in my nature anyway, but I'm just saying I fear the Most High. I don't fear no man. I fear the Most High. And I look at this world, I look at where it was just 20 years ago to where it is now. And I'd be like, oh my. But people want to hate because I'm trying to help my people. And look, I told y'all, I keep telling y'all, look, I say, look, I'm about the Most High and I'm about my people. I'm not going to just sit there and allow people to lie to y'all and not confront it. I'm not going to just sit there and watch you go down the pit and not try to stop it. I'm not going to just sit there just to try to get along for the sake of getting along while you going to hell or being misled. I'm not going to do that. Everybody who look like you ain't you. Everybody who look like you don't think like us. Everybody who look like us and say they with us ain't of us. See, that's one thing I had to realize. This deception real. The infiltration's real. Some people know they Israel, but don't live like they should. Some people say they Israel and they tell Gentiles they can't be saved. So now you disobeying the Most High for going to each and every nation and telling them about the Messiah that they might be saved. See, I guess for me, since I could see all these things, I feel the urgency. See, I see all these things and I've seen it a long time, and I told y'all I see these things coming. And they're here. Which I guess the only good thing is, and like I say, I'm no prophet. Some people are going to try to accuse me of that. They always do. But I can't see the second Exodus being too far off, which should be a good thing. And the reason why I feel that way is because based upon all the prophecies that are occurring and all of the judgments that's happening, I don't see how we can survive too much longer. I know that sounds sort of negative, but I'm being honest. So unless the Most High comes and delivers us, we screwed, right? I said that before. That's what I believe. If you don't like it, if you disagree, that's great. I hope you're right. I hope everything I see don't happen. I hope the collapse of the grid and the collapse of the economic system and the famine, I hope all of that don't happen. I hope they don't continue to attack us with bio weapons. I hope that don't happen. But it's more than likely will. And you know what else is sad? There's very few of us telling the truth. There's very few warning people. That concerns me. But we at that time. And let me wrap this up because I gotta go. But pray for this ministry. Pray for Covenant Awakenings. Pray for Sister Shonda. Pray for Sister Eve. Pray for Brother Dante. And pray for all the ministries out there who doing stuff correctly. Pray for Brother Bruce. He be out there on the front line, though many of y'all don't see it. That's it, family. That's all I got. If y'all want to support this ministry, you can. You could become a patron. You can also give at Cash App, $TOTW7101. Also, you can go to giftgivingforall.com and get your mug, your t-shirts, your hoodies. I'm hoping that we all get to wear those soon and see each other on our way back to the continent, because they don't want us back. Don't get it twisted. They don't want us back. They don't want to send us back home because they want our land. They want our resources. They want our minerals. They want our animals. They want our water. They want our fresh air. You know, they're going to destroy it all, of course, because that's what they do. That's all they can do. Everywhere they go, they kill, steal, and destroy like their God, lowercase g, called Satan. They don't want us back there. They know when we go back to the continent, things going to change. They're concerned about Ibrahim Torre. No, when we get there, we're going to be worse than him. See, they don't want that. But they don't have a choice because the Most High going to step in. Now, how it happens, I don't know. Something's going to happen. It's got to be a miracle. It has to be something grand, right? It has to be fire by night and cloud by day. Because they're not going to just let us go. Don't get it twisted. They want us gone. And I ain't trying to cause no division, but it's the truth. Y'all see it every day. These Psalm 83 people hate us. It's not your imagination. I didn't realize it either. It's true. Ain't nobody like the Negro. Ain't nobody like the Israelites. Don't lie to yourself. You see it. Stop ignoring it. Peace and blessings, Israel. Your captivity is in and love you with the love of Messiah. If you want to support us, you can Patreon and Cash App and giftgivingforall.com. And also, please support the Dry Bones Project.